If you're new to this, my name's Dugan, and this is Shop Talk, episode number 4. We're going to talk about tires, tubes versus tubeless, the pros of tubes. I personally run tubes on all my bikes. I don't run tubeless. There's no mess. They're easy to repair on trail, which I really like because I don't like dealing with a mess on trail. There's no real maintenance with tubes. Like every ride, you're going to have to, bump it up to your pressures that you want to ride. There is some cons of running tubes. You can't run a rim damper like Cush Core. So if you want to run a rim damper, you can't. You're going to have to run tubeless. Tubes way more, but to me, that's a bit debatable, because bike shops market tubes that way because tubeless is such a money grab when you start adding up all the components like rim tape. Now you got to buy another valve, got to buy the sealant. It is a lot more expensive. Tubes have a consistent weight. Last year, I had a couple examples. So a guy I was looking after, his name's Gerald. Love you, brother. He was running his setup tubeless and Gerald decided you can get those little bottles, 60 milliliter bottles of sealant, and you just add it each time to keep it fresh. He thought, oh, well, I'll just keep adding and adding and adding. But if we think 60 milliliters of fluid and you keep adding 60 milliliters of sealant, it starts to add up, and now his tire was full of sealant. And yeah, it's fresh. It's gonna, if you get a puncture, it's gonna seal. But his tire was literally full of sealant. So it weighs way more than a tube. If you're running the correct amount of sealant, it can weigh less than a tube. But a tube is always consistent weight. Another one of my friends, Leonce. Love you, brother. I look after his stuff. So he decided he runs tubeless, and he left his sealant all season, was adding. I actually have a video of Leonce's when we opened his tire up. It's absolutely disgusting. He kept adding sealant, and so it was heavy, a lot of sealant. And I'm gonna roll that video now so you can actually see what it looks like. It's so gross. With a rim damper like Cush Core and sealant, if you're running that combo, it's going to absolutely, the weight of that is going to blow the weight of a tube out of the water. So it's actually pretty heavy compared to a tube, and you can get used to that consistent weight of a tube. That's why I run tubes on mine, because you get used to that consistent weight of your tire. And so here's a question for you. How do you fix a tubeless tire that won't seal on the trail? And a lot of times you'll seal, you get flats. It's a messy tube, because the only way to fix it is a tube. Let's look at some of the pros of tubeless. Now, I think it does have a place if you're racing or you want to run a rim damper and you're charging a little harder. Yeah, it has a place for that. But if you want to run lower pressure, it's kind of debatable, because if you want to run low pressure, even with tubeless, you could still wreck your rim, because with too low a pressure, you're going to damage rims. So it's debatable. Some of the cons of tubeless, you have to maintain it. There's multiple ways you run in tubeless that it can go flat. Your rim tape, so the rim tape, the sealant can start working its way into the rim tape, and it can start lifting. If you get a couple dents in your rim, it's not going to seal. Or if you're riding and all of a sudden you get a broken spoke, well, the spoke can go through the rim tape. Now the rim tape's not sealing, so valve cores constantly get plugged up because the active ingredient, which is latex, keeps blocking your valve core. Or if you're riding and because of tire roll, you can burp a tire if you're running too low a pressure, or if you're cornering and because tire roll, the tire can just blow right off the rim. That's a pretty big deal, because with a tube, it's going to hold the bead to the rim and it's not going to blow off of the wheel. It wrecks clothing. So if you get any of the sealant on your clothing, it's going to wreck your nice bike shorts and your jersey and your shoes. And it's way more expensive than a tube. So basically, as an everyday rider, oh, that's good. Yeah, it's good. Okay, back to this. So, as an everyday rider, it's basically better to run tubes. One, because it's cheaper. And two, you're going to have less complications, way less maintenance. It's just way easier to run a tube. You can take a spare one with you. A pro tip for you: one of the best tubes that you can take with you is actually a 29er, because with a 29-inch tube, it will fit a 27.5 or a 26. So for some reason, if you come across, somebody who has a puncture on the trail and you want to help them out, well, with a 29er, you can take the tube and all you do is fold it back inside of itself and put it to the right diameter of a 27.5 or a 26-inch rim. So you can just roll it inside of itself easy enough to get the correct diameter. And if you carry a little patch kit, Park Tool makes the ones that they're small, and all they are is stickers. They're rated for 30 psi per sticker, and they work really well. They're lightweight. You can throw it in your hip pack or your backpack or however you want to carry it. We don't want to be dealing with glue-on ones on the trail, so get yourself a little patch kit. And with a tube, you can patch your tube up to 5 times on the tube. So that's actually, you can repair your tube quite a bit and put your tube back in and be back riding again. So it's totally worth, as a beginner and an everyday rider, just get yourself a spare tube or a patch kit and save yourself a ton of money, and you're not going to have to deal with a mess and dealing with tubeless. So that's all I got for you today. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.